Hola chicos, entonces hablamos de regular present tense verbs. Ya sabemos qué es regular, qué es present, qué es tense, qué es verbs. Nosotros hablamos de la anatomía de un verbo, infinitivo, conjugaciones, etc. Sabemos toda esta información aquí. Luego, las conjugaciones. The main idea of this part of the previous screencast was to talk about subject pronouns and how we organize the conjugations of verbs. So we have our subject pronouns here and here, singular and plural. Entonces, ahora nosotros vamos a hablar de los verbos. Hay tres categorías de verbos, ¿no? Tres categorías. Y las categorías son verbos de AR, ER, EIR. So let's start off with AR verbs. So if we once again start using our little grid here, which we saw before in the previous screencast, and we have our singular over here, and we have our plural over here, and we know what our subject pronouns are. I'll call them subject pros, which are going to be here and over here as well. Then we can take this verb, this AR ending, and we can decide, okay, how are we going to conjugate this verb? What are we going to do for the endings? So if we take a verb, like the verb that we studied before with sports, the verb marcar, let's have that be our example. And so let's start off with very simply just writing the root of the verb for all six forms. Remember, the root of the verb, excuse me, is the part before the infinitive. And in the previous screencast, I told you guys that we're going to work with the rest of this verb, the end of this verb, the other part of this verb after cutting off the air to add our endings. So, what are our endings going to be for AR verbs? And you probably already know this. Subject pronouns, yo, marco. We've done a lot of talking about ourselves, so we know that one, right? Tú marcas, you score. Él, ella, or usted all have the same form, marca. So if we used él here, this would be he scores. Luego aquí la forma de nosotros, marcamos. And I'm sorry, I ran out of room for that. I'll put them over here, the subject pronouns. Nosotros marcamos, right? We score. Vosotros, if you're in Spain or a country where this is used, you all score. Vosotros marcáis. And finally, either ellos, ellas, or ustedes marcan. So if I wanted to say you guys score a lot of goals, a couple players on my team, ustedes marcan muchos goles. So our endings are o, as, a, amos, ais, an. And again, all this stuff here, all this conjugation stuff here is useless unless you guys can use these in sentences. So you would use this one to ask a question. ¿Marcas muchos goles en tus partidos? Do you score a lot of goals in your game? Ah, sí, yo marco muchos goles. ¿Quién marca muchos goles? ¿Quién marca la mayoría de los puntos? Who scores the majority of points? Here's where you'd use this form, right? The third person. Okay? Bien, so those are your AR endings for regular verbs. Vamos a pasar a los verbos de ER, ER endings. And I'm going to keep this relatively simple. I'm just going to put the endings on. We know, once again, that this is singular. I'm going to start to use abbreviations here. Plural. I won't bother putting in the subject pronouns. Let's take a verb. For an ER verb, let's take the verb. We always use comer, but it's a common one, so let's just use it. So comer, if we take the root of this verb and we just write down what the root of it's going to be, this is kind of a nice way to start. And then we're going to see what our endings are. Okay, so our endings are pretty similar to our AR verbs. They're actually the same here. Como, no hay una diferencia. I eat. Comes, you eat. What do you notice? There's an E here, okay, which makes sense because it's an ER verb. Come, comemos, coméis, comen. So how would you say, for example, they eat? And if you said, ellos comen perfecto. Do you eat every day? And if you said, tú comes todos los días, as a question, that would be correct. So our endings are o, es, e, hemos, eis, en. Slight difference from your AR verbs. Okay, vamos a pasar a la última categoría. The last category is your IR verb. Los verbos de IR, IR verbs, are going to be a little bit different than your ER verbs. So they just keep getting a little bit more different. Remember, reminder, these are all regular verbs. So here we'll do singular as well and plural. ¿Cuáles son las conjugaciones Let's take a verb. Let's take the verb escribir, right? A common verb in school to write. And let's take our root. And we'll just do it for this one, right? Actually, we'll do it for all of them. Escribe. Look at that word, by the way. What do you see in there? Scribe, right? Scribe comes from Latin, so it makes sense for to write. So a lot of times we can figure out words by their roots or by parts of the words. Okay, so ¿cuáles son las formas que necesitamos? ¿Cuáles son las formas? La forma de yo escribo, ¿verdad? Same yo form ending. Tú escribes, no different than the ER, same thing. Él usted escribe. Él escribe, he writes. Nosotros escribimos. Vosotros escribís, you guys write. Y ellos escriben, they write. So, ¿cuáles son las diferencias aquí? What are the differences? Well, basically the differences are in the nosotros and the vosotros forms. These are different from the ER verbs. Other than that, ER and IR verbs are very, very similar. Okay? So, ese es el presente, the present tense, and how you conjugate verbs in the present tense. Relatively simple. It does require some memorization. O, as, a, amos, a, isan. O, es, e, emos, eis, en. And finally for IRs, o, es, e, imos, is, en. Muy bien. Gracias por su atención. Be ready to practice with this stuff next time, and do check Edmodo for what your assignment is for these. Nos vemos la próxima vez. Hasta luego. Chao.